Hi guys, you'll never guess what, I've got another light video for you today. If you've seen my BR Blue HST video and you've seen the EMR HST video, you can see that there's a current issue with older Dapol stock. I think the chips on the PCB boards tend to just give up the ghosts, but that's okay, because if you've got one, which I'd recommend you buy a few if you've got a few Dapols and you like a bit of soldering. Today we shall be changing the chip on the PCB in here, in this loco, and hopefully fixing the lights, because at the moment this hasn't got any lights. They are in there, but I have no way of checking them, so what I'm going to do is jump the gun and just change the chip and hope in a prayer that the lights are fixed. Okay, so let's get on with the video. Okay guys, so here we are at the workbench. Now I've already, sorry I hadn't shown you this, what I've done is I've got cocktail sticks and I've wedged them between the shell and the chassis, and you have to do this all the way around, and that's how the shell would separate from the rest of the body. It is very awkward to get this off. Now I suspect, if you've seen the Dapol light fix on the HST, I would imagine this is what I'm expecting, something similar to that, and that's why these lights aren't working. But we'll find out, because the wires look intact down here and there, and what we need to do really is have a look at our chipboard. But the shell just diffs off, so don't worry too much. That's top, pin 1's over here. Now sometimes it helps to just, I don't know, put an identification there on the socket. Take that out, put it somewhere safe. Now this tape will make sure you put this tape back on, or put some new tape on. And that's just to stop these screws shorting out on the decoder. Okay, so what we're going to do is remove those two screws. What I'm doing here, much like the HST, I think the board is different to the HST, however it seems to be quite a generic thing, chip that goes on these boards. So just put our screws somewhere safe. You can put them in a little pot if you like. Now, what have we got here then? Okay, so I'm just going to get my fingers either side of this plug. There we go. It's important to pull the plastic, not the actual wires. Now, I'm just turning the whole thing around, so it's easier for me to actually work on. Now this, much like that. Oh, hello. That's not good, is it? Oh, that needs soldering back on then. There we go. That wasn't attached. What else have we got? Another one? Front looks okay. We'll solder that back on though. I don't think that's ever been soldered on there. There's no solder on the pad. Dapol, you naughty guys. Alright. As you can see, I'm just sort of flipping the board over, and it's pretty sticky from the insulation tape that they decided to use back in the day. Get our trusty old tweezers. Now on this side, I suspect is what the problem is. It's going to be an error. I'm going to rotate it around again. Just don't worry about that red wire. I'll show you that in a minute. Now, whilst we're here, they're resistors, okay, and capacitors probably. More than likely just resistors. I'm trying to put this crocodile clip somewhere to help me. I want to try and see if I can find the chip. Where is it? There it is. It's hiding, look, just there. Put money on it. I reckon that's our guilty little chip there. That one just there, look. Target acquired. Okay, so how are we going to get this out then? Well, what I tend to do, you can probably use a cocktail stick actually. In the last video I used a knife, but that can be a bit dangerous if you're a bit abrupt with it. So I've got a clean tipped soldering iron. I've just cleaned the tip on the soldering iron. I better turn it on first though, hadn't I? We'll be back in a minute. Right, I think the soldering iron's nearly hot. Before we go into that, what I'm going to do, as you can see, the defending article, or the offending article. Let's zoom right in on this, shall we? Now, it's going to be easier for you. Now it's a bit busy here with the wires, so you've got to try and avoid them with the soldering iron. That's why I'm going to come in this direction with the soldering iron, and I've clamped that wire there. So what I'm actually going to try and do is clamp it more away, just in case. Less work is better work. Okay, something like that, okay. So that chip's got to come out, and now I've got to desolder that and that. So what I'm going to do is, to be honest with you, I prefer using a knife because it's a real fine blade tip type thing. I'm not sure the cocktail stick's going to do it, but we're going to give it a go first. This chip's had it, I'm sure of it. It just seems to be a Dapol thing. Now, what I'm going to be putting in, don't worry, I'll put this in the description, is SOT-23, okay, that's the case shape and size. BAT54C, that is the arrangement inside that chip. It is known as a surface mount diode, or SM type chips are surface mount or surface mounted diode transistors, it's called that. But I guess it's got, I won't go too into it, it's got PNP material. Anyway, right, I bought 10 of them. Now on the HST I've already used 2, so we've got another 8, and I don't know if I got enough actually. We shall see. As you can see, they're tiny. These are called KL3s, but that is kind of the shape the chip is, and also again what's in it. KL3 originally is actually how I found this chip, but don't worry, I'll put it in the description. That's what you're looking for. So I worked out those chips. I bought 10 of them, which was like £2.90, something like that. 10 of them, so the 29p each is like, and I think, I'm not sure about this board. I know the HST boards you can get from DCC supplies, they're about 20 quid a PCB. So what I would say is have a go at trying to fix one, or alternatively, I can probably do it for you, but there'd be a fee obviously. And you can get in touch with me actually on my, if you go to the about section, I've got an email there, just get in touch. I'm not trying to plug that, I just realised that some of you guys probably might, the number one thing I get is my hands are a bit shaky, and I totally understand that. I get shaky hands sometimes, but you know, if you don't feel like having a go, then the option's there, and you can see that I can do this. That's not an issue. I can probably make a video on it as well if you like. So anyway, we've got a soldering iron, that's hot. A bit of solder on the end of the tip. Do you know what? I'm going to use a knife blade. I'm going to go with what I know works, because it kind of just gets under there. Moral of the story is you've just got to get the chip off without damaging anything else on the board. It doesn't really matter how you do it. This isn't coming off very easily though this time, which is concerning me. Right, if you've got a chip that is problematic like this, what you can do, this is not a great way of showing you how to do something properly, but I'm going to get some side cutters here and hopefully not damage the board. Okay, so I've broken the chip. That should allow me now to desolder the bits individually. So I've got the trusty tweezers there. And that's one little piece off. There we have another piece. And then our last piece over here, which is very, very stuck. There we go. Wow, that was putting up a bit of a fight, that. What I'm going to do though is we're going to come back over and we need to make sure this area is kind of clean. So fresh solder, fresh solder, fresh solder, and there's something there. Do you know what I think they've done? I think they might have super glued the chip down and then they've come along and soldered it. So you just got to make sure it's free of anything. So you've got 3 pads there to solder to now. Woohoo! Now we get a nice new chip. I'm going to pour it on a nice white piece of tissue paper so that I can see it. And what we're going to do, get our trusty tweezers, sort of get it in the general area. Tack, tack, tack. Okay, right, we're getting somewhere. I've just basically tacked that little leg on there. I'm going to come over with a cocktail stick and just pushing down on the chip itself, do this side and then back there, back, there we go. And then we're going to go there and solder that one on just there. There. Okay, it's on. It's not the prettiest soldering in the world, but it's definitely on. Wow, what an ordeal that was, eh? So we've got 7 chips left. Ooh. Got lots of bits of old ones. So what I'm going to do, zoom out here. That red wire needs attention, doesn't it? So we're going to remove that. Get that out of the way. We're done with that now, I think. Okay, so these wires all lived under here. And if we roll her back over onto her front. It's at this point actually what you could do is plug the shell back in, put it on the track and just test it quick. I've got a bit of faith this is actually going to work though, so I'm going full in, putting it back together. Maybe not, hammer the shell down just yet. That'd be going one stage too far, wouldn't it? Okay, don't forget we need to insulate them screws. So that's the old tape, still sticky enough. We're going to get our blanking plug, put that back in, because we identified pin 1, that's pin 1, and conveniently it says top on the chip. Now, what we're going to do here then, well, in my case, it's not actually ever had solder on that pickup, which is bizarre. I guess it just missed quality control. It's probably going to need a bit of heat. There we go, it's took it. Yeah. And obviously bigger metal objects take longer to heat up, and the heat has to match on each part before the solder will flow between the two. So I pre-tinned the pickup, and then I'm not soldering anything just yet, I'm just lining it up, and then bloop, it's on. She's on. What do you reckon? Do you reckon it's going to work? Oh, I hope so. So I'm going to plug this back in now. Quite be lovely if it does work. Just like that. And I'm just going to roll the shell. I'm not going to push it all the way down just yet. I'm going to take it to the track and see what we've got. Righto then, we're back at the track. So first things first, I'll turn, the power's on, I'm just going to turn the throttle up. And we've got tail lights there, look. Isn't that good? Whoa. Forward running lights. Oh yeah, look at that. The beauty of DCC, this is obviously DC at the minute, until I put a chip in it. See if I can get it to glow. Reverse, forwards. Yeah, the beauty is, on DCC you can have the lights on all the time, whereas on DCC you kind of can't. You probably can't see it, but on the forward running these top lights come on as well. I've never seen this with lights, it's really cool. What we do, we just turn it around. One-handed. Make sure the other end is in sync with the loco as well. And that one is red. Going away. Yeah, that's correct. And then coming towards us. Yeah, wow, they're all on. They're all working. Awesome. I'll show you the ordeal that I go through putting the shell on. So we'll go back over to the bench. What have we got then? Well, I've got a loco that works. How cool is that? Now to fix that, it took a bit of time, but what's that? I know what I'm doing, about an hour, so a fair amount of time. The chip was a royal 29 pence, and that's like £2.90 for 10, including postage. You know, so it was not even a postage cost. It's just the time and actually the skill set involved with actually soldering, I would say. I just try not to edit out too much of how I remove that chip, because I think it's important that you see that what I did and how I did it and why I did it. What can I do here then? So those wires there are all over the place. Now, but be careful you don't snap them off the PCB that they're in. I think I can't. The wires can't sit under. The wires cannot sit between these two, they have to sit between the chassis and the back of the cab. So I'm going to give them a helping hand, and as I'm putting these in, it's kind of luck of the draw. If a wire snaps, then it's snapped, guys, and you'll have to solder it back on. I think what I'm going to do here is start by pushing this end of the loco in. Trying to get the wires so they don't sit under the cab. That is the avoiding thing. Okay, so as you can see there, they're all going to go sort of in there. That's that end sorted, I think. Now we'll get back down here. Much the same. We don't want them sitting underneath, we want them behind. Cocktail stick is your friend. Okay. These wires have poked their head out again just to say hello. But we don't want to say hello. Get back in your roll. This is probably the hardest thing with the Dapol. I don't know how you'd easily change the chips on these. So that should all fold in there. Yes, 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 yes. Now we're left with this horrible lot. Now the nose needs to just clip over like that. And I think that's pretty much as good as it's going to get. That's not bad though, is it? See the shot line there. Again, just take your time, and then after you've put all this together, you're going to have loads of fingerprints over it like I have just put on it. It's quite a hot day. So, in fact, that's another thing to mention actually. You're probably better doing this kind of thing on a hot day so the plastics are a little bit more flexible. Or, my room's quite hot, so it's not super hot, it's just warm to keep everything a bit pliable. If this was cold in here, you might actually just rip the shell apart. Now, I think everything's back on. Just check the bogies move around, and they seem alright. It's lovely, lovely loco this. Love it. What you can also do, if you've got a bit of a dusty loco, get a bit of a hard bristle brush. You could cut these bristles down in half, so it's about that short, and then you can get all the dust off of stuff, getting all the nicks and crannies, you know, like on the grills and stuff. So I'm hoping you find this video useful. I haven't found a Dapol that uses a different chip yet. So if the lights are gone on a Dapol loco, dare I say any of them, I think that chip just needs changing and you're probably going to be alright. Your lights will probably work again. I didn't know if the lights actually worked on this or not because I didn't have a way of testing them. But I had the chip, so I just put the chip in and voila, we've got lights again and they all work. It's an absolutely lovely loco. Dapol do such a good job. I think what we'll do though is we'll go over to the track now and just give it a bit of a run. It'll probably be grainy video, I'm afraid, because it's dark. But let's go to the track and see what we got. Well, here she is in all her glory. I'm always quite impressed with the Dapols because they crawl quite good, look. You see the lights flickering there. It's basically because I'm on DC and you can't, as you probably know, get enough power into the lights for them to light properly if you're going really slow. Those tail lights are doing a good job though of staying lit. Anyway, let's get a load on here because this hasn't really been run that much because I was sort of leaving it to the side just to do the lights. Cool. Let's get a load on there and we'll run it around the track properly.